Hello, hello. I just wanted to add another point that I've realized the moment I stopped recording and started vibing is the kind of issue with the being exceptional at something. It's fairly hard to articulate, but I'm gonna try my best. Maybe I'll need to revibe to kind of engage with the idea. But generally, we have the way we see ourselves is, how should I say, is competing the with other things, if that makes sense. So, and what are those things? For example, take a high schooler or a kid. They are just themselves as much as possible. They are have a high degree of expression. They're able to feel emotions. For example, if they were to listen to the song, like they'll be able to um, how should I say, the part that is themselves will have a high degree of response and resonance with the kind of emotions that the song is supposed to invoke, right? And they will be able to vibe with it and enjoy it to a higher degree compared to someone who has suppressed or whose self has been greatly suppressed. They're not going to respond to it as much as this. Mhm. Like they'll be able to kind of listen to it and they'll still be able to engage with it, but the extent will be not as strong. It won't be as sensitive. It won't be as responsive. Like their body uh, won't, like their hairs won't stand up. Their body won't generate like feelings from it, right? Which is actually true. I used to get goosebumps from listening to music, and now I just don't get it. Why? Because I've suppressed myself. I'm not able to I'm not able to engage to the same degree that I used to be able to because I have suppressed myself, right? And how does being super talented and doing these shitty trades suppress yourself? I'm not sure, but intuitively, I think it's something along the lines of something, I'm not sure what it is, starts to kind of like when you're a kid with like low ability, your sense of self is um relatively big. And there's something that like s- pushes it down. And I don't know, all of you like pacifists or whatever are gonna say it's aggression, it's resentment that pushes you down. I don't think it's that, but it's something that happens in that exchange. And I think it's if you try to. Oh, okay, I have an idea. I have an idea. It's I don't know if this is accurate, but if you were to think of the amount of what you're allowed to have or what you think you're worth as the container that you are allowed to kind of fit yourself into, right? Um, so, for example, this container correlates to like relatively average space of self, right? As and let's say I have at first no ability and no talent to kind of in part of my self-expression. Then my the space gets filled with how should I say? First of all, what does this space represent? The space represents what you think you deserve or who you like the space you leave for yourself like energy wise, right? So this space gets filled by not I deserve this because of my abilities, but I deserve this because of who I am. And you see this type of thinking a lot in women, for example. Um, or it actually kind of justifies the same kind of analysis I did on dumb people. Why do they feel like they deserve so much? It's because even though they don't have competency, but they have, um, and they're not wrong for this, by the way. They deserve a lot of things because they exist, and like they have the right to exist, and because of who they are, they deserve uh, this space. Problem becomes is if you increase your competence without increasing the space, what happens is your competence competes for the same space. And now your formulation becomes I deserve things. I get to have things not because of who I am. I deserve things because of what I offer and the things that I uh am capable of my ability. So of who I am in terms of like your how you see yourself um stops being based on your like individual uniqueness. It starts being on like measurable metrics, like because I can coach people to this level, because I can run 100 miles, because I can do this. And growth of these without increasing the container is going to suffocate you to an extent where you stop feeling things. And I think that's what happened to me. Um, So the answer is to start feeling things if I want to listen to the song and actually feel goosebumps or whatever. I need to create some more space in the fucking container so that I get some space to actually be oh um myself, if that makes sense. And by being myself, I mean like I don't know, like having some goofy moments, like having some personal moments, like enjoying things just for the way they are and not like overanalyzing or whatever. The reason why I've gone into over analyzing and maximizing my competencies initially was a form of self-suppression because I hated myself to the point that I had to override myself with competencies. And uh, I'm only realizing this now, relatively recently. Um, and I remember a couple of months ago, I was in a very bad place negatively, like 5 months ago or something. I was at a very low point, and the kind of ideas I was thinking was, why do other people get to be themselves and I'm not allowed to be myself? And now I have the answer why I thought this way. It's because I have maximized competencies and allied myself with this to an extent that I've forbidden myself from being myself. I was my own suppressor, if that makes sense. I put myself in the labor camp. So yeah, um, if you feel like you're a bad person for wanting more, realize that if you don't do it, you kill yourself. You do it at the expense of allowing yourself to be you. So imagine if I were to double it and say I deserve 3,000, and I could say, well, 2,000 of that will be because of my competencies, and 1,000 of that just because I am. Like that will actually allow me to feel like myself, in theory. And that is kind of the feeling I've been chasing for a really long time. Um, that's kind of the main goal of. I don't know if you noticed, but there is consistency in all of these videos that I'm making. Generally, they're all um, stepping stones in the direction to me to find ways to actually fucking be alive. Fuck. There was another insight. I think I just lost. Um, I would argue that competencies shouldn't take that much space. You should feel as much. Um, you should let yourself take as much space as possible. Oh yeah, okay. The other insight was the problem with this original way of where you're suppressing yourself with your competencies. You would think, well, aren't you a hero for this? Aren't you an artisan? Isn't that like samurai? Isn't that Buddhism ideas? Isn't that so good? It's not good because if you suppress yourself to a great extent, you lose the reason why you even fucking exist. Why the fuck would you exist if you don't get to be yourself? Just, you might as well just kill yourself now. There's nothing that's going to happen in your life. In a sense, not that your life is worthless. It's in a sense that you're going to be unable. As okay, imagine for example this song, right? Um, Imagine if I was a writer and I wrote this song, and when I listened to it, I couldn't even feel anything because I suppressed myself by trying to write that song. Why did I write the song then, right? And our lives is kind of the same. Um, as we live, we write our own songs, our own stories, and if we can't, because we suppressed ourselves in the process, we can't feel anything for our own stories. Those stories lose value, and you lose motivation to even write the stories in the first place. So competence by suppression of self is inherently just retarded. It doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't make you more capable because the formula for capability is desire times ability. And these things seem like opposites, but you need to make space for both of them at the same time. If you were to just max out ability and suppress your desires, your output doesn't change. So talent is actually can be self-suppressive unless you uh, make space for it. So yeah, warning to all of you talented people watching this. Uh, though I doubt. Okay, maybe there is someone talented watching. Good on you if you're talented. But you're probably not. You're probably overrating yourself. I'm just toxic like that. Okay, I think I've made the point. Ciao.